Alright guys, today I'm coming at you with some exciting news if you are a Logitech Driving Force fan on the PlayStation consoles. Sometime this weekend there was some photos leaked of what appears to be a Logitech racing wheel. Not much is known yet. There's two photos leaked. It appears to be of two separate steering wheels. Both basically identical in design with a couple exceptions here. One of them has a more gunmetal style metal for the spokes. The other one has a darker aluminum and appears to be just flat plate. The lighter colored one actually has some like bends in it, you could see. The center button where it shows the Logitech symbol, it would be like your horn button, has a different G design. One of them appears to be kind of like a apex kind of looking thing, like a corner, and the other one is like the G series stuff that Logitech has been doing recently. They are definitely for the PlayStation 4, as they have the share and option buttons on the bottom of the steering wheel. If you're familiar with the Driving Force GT, the wheel made for Gran Turismo 5, it has the red dial with the back button in the center and the plus and minus. That on Gran Turismo it was used to adjust your traction control and four-wheel drive torque balance and several other settings on your car, which kind of alludes to the possibility that it is going to be kind of designed for Gran Turismo, possibly in a collaboration style thing like they did with the Driving Force GT, as the red dial on the Driving Force GT, as far as I know, only worked in Gran Turismo on the PS3. You could use it on the PC if you plugged it in and installed the drivers and whatnot for it. You could get that red wheel to work on the PC. But as far as console games, racing games go, as far as I know, it was the only game it worked on was for Gran Turismo. So I believe this is probably going to end up being released, hopefully not when Gran Turismo 7 comes out, although it is potentially possible. And they're talking a late 2016, early 2017 speculated release for Gran Turismo 7. Anyone that knows the series knows Polyphony isn't exactly known for timely releases, so who really knows how long that's going to be till it releases. As far as what I think the price is going to be, I think this is going to fall somewhere maybe in the 200 to 250 range, potentially, to slot kind of back in somewhere around maybe when the G27 first came out, in between the price it was when it first came out and the Driving Force GT. One of the photos has something kind of interesting in it. In the background, and you can get the link in the description below to where I got these photos. In the background you can see a blue box. It clearly says Logitech on it, with the G series symbol on it, and you can see a word that's partially blocked out with a trademark symbol next to it, and it says, appears to show RCE, so I'm going to assume that says Driving Force, and then after that it says Shifter. And it's kind of a small box, definitely not big enough for the steering wheel. So it kind of gives the idea that it's going to be a ecosystem based thing like the Thrustmaster T300 RS and the T500 is, with the T3PA pedals and the TH8A shifter. If they do something like this, it could potentially be a lower cost, so maybe, you know, $150 initial cost with, you know, maybe some bass pedals and the steering wheel without an H pattern shifter or a sequential shifter. something similar to what you get with the T300 RS. Just a basic 2-pedal setup with the paddle shifters from the factory. Hopefully it isn't too ridiculously expensive like the Thrustmaster with a $400 release. The build quality, from what I can see on the wheelbase and stuff, it doesn't appear that they've built like a super high-end one. It should slot somewhere, I think, probably in between the Driving Force GT, possibly a little higher than that, and the G27. So somewhere in between where those slot in right now. I don't think it's going to be much higher, if at all higher, than the G27 in the quality and price standpoint of things. In the photo, it looks like it might possibly have the shift point indicator that the G27 has, because there's like possibly a translucent kind of plastic that's at the very top of not the very top, but the same place it was on the G27 for your shift indicators. But again, the wheel's not on, it's just sitting on a table, and it's just, typical spy photo kind of thing. So we can't tell as of yet what's up with the shift point indicator, if it has that. I know I for one am extremely excited for this wheel. I owned the Driving Force GT, always wanted the G27, never had the money to buy it, but I certainly do not want to pay $400 for a racing wheel with the T300s. I think that's just ridiculous, especially since the G27 currently is $230 and comes with a 6-speed shifter and a 3-pedal set. It would cost a little over $700 to get that same setup on the T300 RS. That to me is a little bit crazy for your steering wheel. I understand it's going to be higher quality than the G27, but nonetheless, if that's your only option on the market, you don't have much choice. It'd be nicer to have a more budget-friendly kind of steering wheel, and that's what I'm hoping the Driving Force 2 or the maybe G29, I think it's probably going to be called the G29, hoping that's where that's going to fit in the market. If it does end up coming out here within soon, do look out for a review of that. I'll pick it up as soon as finances make it possible. Hopefully they'll do some kind of a pre-order thing where they'll announce it a couple months earlier, and I'll be able to round up the money and pick it up on launch day to get you guys the review. Yeah, Project Cars. See the gameplay in the background. What do I think of the game? I like it a lot as of right now. It's definitely not what people said it was prior to me buying it. A lot of the reviews I looked at on it of the typical YouTube reviewers is that the game was relatively uncontrollable with anything other than a low horsepower car. So far, I don't think that's the case at all. Driving the Lotus 98 Turbo, which if you've ever driven that car is extremely uncontrollable. The turbo lag on it is horrible, and once the turbo kicks in, it's all in at the same time. And as you can see here from the gameplay, I'm able to stay on the track without driving through a farmer's field and bursting into flames, like some people on YouTube would have you think this game is. Online seems to be okay. Several annoyances that irritate me a lot are it doesn't have a hop on the track and hop off the track kind of thing like Gran Turismo has. Would be really nice to have in this game, because I feel like it'd be a lot of fun just to hop on the track, hop off the track, switch your car, change some settings, hop back on the track, hop off the track, and hang out with people. I think the game's definitely lacking a chat system as far as a keyboard typing chat, because I don't know about you guys, but I spend almost all of my time in a party chat on PS4, and I'm never in the game to talk to people. So if I want to talk to anyone that's in the game, I have to leave my party, then have to get the invite back into my party. It's just more hassle than it should be. I should be able to pull up a keyboard and type something into the chat that's definitely there, because it has an indicator that shows when everybody changes their cars and I change the track and whatnot. So that definitely wouldn't be that hard for them to throw in that feature. Hopefully it's something they will update relatively soon. As far as how the people race online, that's kind of another story. You'll occasionally find the people that will race cleanly, but so far, from the majority of people I played with, they all race terribly. I don't know if this is kind of their first time into quotation marks sim racing games versus pure arcade. The Crew, Drive Club is more of a pure arcade, you know, and any of the other PlayStation 3 titles that have been out. I don't know if that's what's going on or what's going on, but people are definitely not serious into racing for the most part in this game as of yet, in my own experience. You'll have the people that'll punt you off the road in the first corner. I've had people purposely smash me into a wall 100 feet after we start racing off the starting grid. Yeah, some people do not race very well. I've had to leave rooms that I was previously running because someone in the room was driving completely horrible and hit you off the road every lap. And since they don't have a dedicated kicking function like they did in Gran Turismo 5, you can't, if you're the host, just kick somebody because they're not driving correctly, which I feel is a major mistake in this game, any racing game for that matter. You should not have a voting system to kick people out of the room, because once you get 16 people in the room, it's extremely hard to get 9 of those people to agree on a point, or even if they all agree, to actually get them to vote the person out of the room. So if you have a menace in the room, you end up getting stuck with that person. I've been in rooms that this guy will literally park in the apexes of corners and crash everybody, and nobody votes him out of the room. It's a little bit out of control, and I feel that Slightly Mad Studios really need to get an update pushed out to resolve this issue and add an actual kicking function. I understand if you do something wrong, you potentially could be kicked from a room for no reason from somebody. But, well, that's the way these games work. Gran Turismo 5 and Gran Turismo 6, well, I haven't really played Gran Turismo 6, but Gran Turismo 5, I was kicked out of rooms annoyingly often when I joined people's rooms just because they didn't like me for some reason. I pulled out a wrong car. Well, that's the way it is. Sorry. If that happens, it happens. It's a lot better than having to deal with someone for, 5 races because you are having fun racing with 3 people, but, one guy is screwing you up. But that's enough with my rant. Thanks everyone for watching. Subscribe for more. Look forward to more Project Cars gameplay and whatnot. Thank you and have a nice day. I'm going to leave the gameplay going for those of you that is enjoying watching the game.